Good evening and welcome back. I'm Teddy, and you are listening to Night Talk. So come on in and join me for a little while. Shout out to the mob, all my other bears. I call the grizzlies and honey bears. Not a lot of music tonight, not a lot of talk. I don't know. I just wanted to come on and spend a little time. Yeah. You know, there's just so much going on in the news. And the news seems that lately it's just been, for many of us, it's some people just don't watch the news because the stories can be so depressing. Yeah. I talk about the news a lot. I do. Or I had been. Yeah. And there's certainly a number of stories that can be talked about. Yeah. But what do you want to talk about tonight? Yeah, what do you want to talk about tonight? So, let me just start with this. Let's get back to AI just for a moment. So, I have used the tool, I'll call it a tool, because eventually more and more people will be using AI to help them to solve daily, not just problems, daily task. Maybe I can say it just like that. So the idea was floated, and I've thought about this, and probably one of the reasons I've begun using AI to help analyze this mess. So again, idea floated. Well, Teddy, you know what? We didn't have AI as prevalent as it is today. I mentioned that before. I think it was only last week. Think about what would happen, or what would be the output if I took transcripts and processed them from the beginning, the ones that I have, or clips of unmasking the avatar and or other more, what could be more prominent issues, since that was one that was the beginning, but others since then. I wonder how AI would see what happened. Yeah. So what I did, someone reminded me of some clips. This was shortly after Nosy Whole Life had interviewed Monique Tolbert. And Black Rabbit had reached out to Angelica Floyd, Monique Tobert's building partner. And there were some DMs, or I'll just say text messaging going on between them. Well, there were several messages. And I've had those messages because we've talked about them before. They were blurry messages. Well, now with AI, somehow AI can see words that sometimes we just can't see. Right? So, what I did is I took some of those messages and I processed them. Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah. Of course, there's lots of things we could talk about, right? I could stop right there and just say, that would be a great idea. Let me see. Now, let me refresh my... Hang on. If I can pull them up. While I'm trying to do that, is there anything else that's on your mind tonight? For some reason. Okay. I'll have to wait while the clock is spinning. Let me see if I can remove some of these tabs. It's just saying wait right now. This particular page is not responding as quickly. Let's see here. Did it come up? How about that? Still waiting. What I will do is close this out. And see if I can bring it up, if I can. Here we go, I think. Yeah. Yes. I say yes because this yeah word kind of slang. So let me see what I ask here. Again, for those of you now joining me just now, so I decided to take a look at a series of text messages between Angelica Floyd, who was the building partner of Monique Tobert. Monique Tobert is the woman who called into Nosy Ho Live's YouTube broadcast. It was on June 18, 2021. After the interview between Monique Tobert, Nosy Ho Live, and So Debonair, okay, the avatar, I know everybody knows this, Monica the Avatar, right? Well, there were some back-to-back messaging between Down the Rabbit Hole News, I call her Black Rabbit, and Angelica Floyd. Okay. Again, this was after the pre-recorded interview between her, Monique Tobert, and when Monique Tobert asked her building partner, Angelica Floyd, to join them. Okay. At the time, she thought that Black Rabbit was a lawyer. Okay. She didn't know that she was going live on a YouTube broadcast. Okay. But Monique Tobert convinced her, to join in this pre-recorded interview. She felt ambushed. And later, she fell out with her building partner, Monique Tobert. Also later, she joined the unmasking group. Yeah. Unmasking the Avatar. So, I'm just going to go over a few of these, the response and how AI saw it. So, in this initiation of contact in Black Rabbit's positioning, Rabbit opens by saying in one of these messages that she's sending her a message to let you know about YouTubers trying to contact you. She's speaking to Angelica. This frames Rabbit as a protector or informant, but in reality, it also is a way to establish trust and control of the narrative right away after Monique's appearance on Nosy Ho Live. Did I say fair use commentary? This is for education, criticism, and entertainment purposes only. So what did AI glean just from this initial contact? Said that Rabbit is not neutral. By contacting Angelica immediately after the live interview, she is inserting herself as a gatekeeper between Angelica and other YouTubers, which conveniently protects a camp. Whose camp are we talking about? Let's go on. Angelica's reaction. The feeling of ambushed. Angelica's green text response shows she's unhappy. She felt put on the spot with questions she didn't know about. She thought Rabbit was a lawyer, which indicates Monique Tolbert framed the interview deceptively. She later realized it wasn't legal, but YouTube related, which would explain her anger about being broadcast publicly. Outcome hints gleaned. Angelica experienced deception. She explicitly says she didn't realize she'd be on YouTube and didn't know Rabbit's true role. This would support the narrative that Monique misled her, which caused the fallout in the relationship. Again, I simply put through these text messages. The thing about AI, it wasn't available. It wasn't. Not like it can be used today. The technology was there, but it wasn't, all of these different programs where you could just break it down as a tool. Yes. I wonder what else it could tell us. Angelica, she wasn't happy. And there was some deception. At least that's what AI said. Manipulation through timing. So the outreach happens right after the controversial, that live stream on June 18, 2021. Rabbit capitalized, this is AI, on Angelica's confusion and emotional reaction, stepping in quickly to redirect blame away from Monique and the circle. What circle are we talking about? The timing, AI says, wasn't a coincidence. This was likely coordinated damage control, especially given some friendships there, aren't there? Didn't I say that interview was damage control? Things that she said in that interview, how things were coming out so quickly. So quickly, these people come together. How did that happen? Oh. Let's go on with AI. Says truth versus manipulation. Truth in the text. Angelica didn't want to be involved, didn't know it was YouTube, and thought she was meeting a lawyer. These details point to Monique orchestrating things under false pretenses. Allegedly, 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 I just put these texts through in the conversations between what was said, Black Rabbit, Angelica. What happened to Angelica? Manipulation in the text. Rabbit presents herself as a helpful insider, but is actually protecting, I'm going to leave this blank, someone's interest, shaping who Angelica trusts going forward. Remember, she was a gatekeeper between, who was it, the family, that person. Remember when So Deb wanted to give that apology? Oh, I haven't put that through. And all of those messages between Black Rabbit and So Debonair. I wonder what would AI say about that interrogation of Marcella, because it was an interrogation, in my opinion. Rapid fire, one after one after one. Accountability to whom? Really? A cross-examination on this platform. Why? Isn't that interesting? But let's get back to these texts, maybe just a little bit longer. So, in the bigger picture, this fallout and alignment, Angelica later joined the unmasking group against the avatar, unmasking the avatar, which matches her text frustrations about being misled. The text helped to explain why she broke with Monique Tober. Betrayal of professional trust. This is AI. Embarrassment at being used in a YouTube drama without consent. Resentment that her name got dragged into something legal adjacent when she thought it was a private matter. So, just with a few of the messages that were processed, what was the conclusion? Just in a few. AI says Monique misled Angelica into thinking she was helping resolve a legal issue, not participating in YouTube content. Let me stop right there. Was there ever an apology given or made to Angelica? I've never thought about that until I looked at this, AI feedback or breakdown of these text messages. 2. Rabbit immediately swooped in After Nosy Whole Live Fallout to manage Angelica's perception and reduce scrutiny on who was on their way. Oh, the people. Scrutiny of what was said by Monique Tolbert on that panel. Remember, Black Rabbit, she was exhausted trying to get one of those panel members to stand in and say that Monique wasn't the saboteur. Yeah, and she was frustrated. She was forceful, involved, inserted herself. Why? Well, in a video, she said she saw someone that needed help. Monique. She was just sitting and watching, and she saw this person who was in trouble. And she basically felt bad, and she wanted to reach out and help her. My impression, based on what she said in her videos. Deleted. In those messages, just those texts, AI says that it's a mix of genuine frustration from Angelica and clear manipulation by Rabbit. Huh. And that's just a few. I wonder what AI would say about the conversation that her and Blaine had, or text messages, by others, and conversations, and video footage, and this whole scheme and plot to take down Nosy Whole Live. I wonder if AI would say, just like it said in a few of those texts, that it was not a coincidence. Do you really think that it's, just so happened this person gets in touch with this one, and another person comes into the picture? I wonder how those messages that David Johnson sent out, the conversations that, remember when those messages between Cups and Rocky, because when we've talked about them, we've just given our input, commentary. Didn't have AI, didn't use AI. And I created a lot of video footage breaking down those 2 months. And I told you, I didn't even scratch the surface and going through the videos. No. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? This is fair use commentary. It's a new day. This is just an example of how AI is being used, can be used, but it has to be used also, I'm going to say this, with caution, clarity, with disclaimers, with context, and with receipts. You see, it's the receipts, because people might think, well, you put that in to AI. You just made up something. And AI, AI can only give analysis, thinking, right? Based on what you input as you build the history. Yeah. That's why it's important in any of this that receipts, part of the story, be heard or seen. Yeah. Because without them, a person could say, oh, you didn't debunk, or you manipulated something. And that's not what I want to do, certainly not with technology. I wouldn't want to put anything in that's inaccurate, because I really want to know how it would be processed, how it would be thought about. To see things that I know I've missed. Yeah. Like text between myself and someone else. It would say things about me as well. I'm certain of it. I would want to know. Yeah. So what do you want to talk about tonight? I've talked about half an hour. I have so many things I can talk about. So you want to talk about the news? While you're thinking. Another tragic story today. This time in Pennsylvania, there was a shooting and 3 officers were killed. 2 were wounded. Yeah. And the governor of Pennsylvania, Shapiro, had once again to give the grim news and talk about what happened. Let's play a little bit of it as he comes to the mic.
This is an absolutely tragic and devastating day for York County and for the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We grieve for the loss of life for 3 precious souls who served this county, served this Commonwealth, and served this country. And we continue to pray for the full recovery of those who are dealing with their wounds. This, of course, is on the heels of just a few months ago when we lost another York County son, Officer Duarte, who again gave his life in the line of service. I had the opportunity with the Lieutenant Governor and with Senator Phillips Hill, Representative Grove, and your 3 county commissioners to spend some time with the families of those who have been impacted by this violence today. I think it's important for you to know that these families who are dealing with, they're grieving right now and they're suffering right now, took time to tell us how proud they are of their loved ones who put on a uniform to keep us safe. It's an extraordinary thing that these law enforcement families do. They support the individual who puts on the uniform and runs toward danger. They're there for them when they leave in the morning, and they pray throughout the day that they will come home at night. So I hope as this community comes together, as I know it knows how to do, and prays, that we think not just about those who wear the uniform, but those who stand behind and next to those who wear the uniform every day. These families are extraordinary, and I hope you'll join me in prayer for them. I had some time to spend with the law enforcement who are gathered here today, who ran here because they knew that their brothers in uniform were in danger or their lives were cut short. And I'll just share with you what I told them. The entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania respects them, and we have their backs. And we so appreciate the work that they do every single day when they go out to keep us safe, when they go out to protect our freedoms and our rights. This is something that, sadly, we only tend to share in times of tragedy. I think it is important that this Commonwealth knows that every day we appreciate those who put on the uniform and those who keep us safe. There are others here at WellSpan who wear different kind of uniforms. And I want to say thank you to the doctors, to the nurses, to the staff here at this extraordinarily wonderful healthcare institution that sadly has seen too much trauma. But thanks to their extraordinary talents and their dedication to their neighbors, they're able to help people get back up on their feet. That's what you did today for these 2 brave souls who put on a uniform to keep us safe. And so we appreciate those of you who don the white coat and the scrubs, those of you who support the work that they do. You truly are wonderful people, and we appreciate you very, very much.
So you're probably wondering, well, what happened? Well, 3 police officers, they were fatally shot, and 2, again, they were wounded. And the shooter was killed by police authorities. Also, the officers were at the scene amid a farmland to follow up on a domestic-related investigation that began the previous day. So it was a domestic incident or a tragedy, a devastating day. 3 officers responding. Violence is not okay. It isn't. And police do every day. They go into dangerous situations. And quite honestly, domestic related investigations can sadly be some of the most troubling and dangerous to go to because you don't know what to expect. So you heard the governor, Shapiro. Yeah. In 2009, 3 Pittsburgh officers responding to domestic disturbance, they were ambushed and shot to death by a man in a bulletproof vest. So this has some grave history there. And you also heard him, pouring out condolences to those that put themselves in harm's way, and the ones that provided life-saving measures, and to others who were hurt in this. It's just unbearable. The news, it is. So once again, families get the news, they grieve, and communities are, shattered. Homes are broken. Yeah. More and more news. There are other stories. What's going on with today was pomp and circumstances for the president and the first lady, because they are over in the United Kingdom and being honored by Prince Charles and the royal family right now. So they are there. We just had a state dinner and all pomp and circumstances. When they arrived, even, in carriages, and it's so for those of you that are into that, there's plenty of it to see on television, or the internet. It's everywhere. I don't know if any of you have listened to Candace Owens since the tragic death of Charlie KIRK, killing of him, assassination of him. Well, they were very close friends. And she has spoken out about what has happened. And people are saying pray for her too, because she has said some things, some bold things to leaders, such as even Benjamin Netanyahu. Wow. I'm not going to take the time to go over it tonight, but I might. I'll play some of what she had to say and what she thinks about this tragic incident. It's for those who are were close to him. The service is going to be on Sunday, and they're in Arizona. I forgot the name of the stadium, but President Trump is expected to attend and speak, and Vice President, and a lot of people. It's expected it's going to be thousands and thousands of people. Whether you agree with Charlie KIRK and turning point in his mission and what happened. Candace Owens is telling a story, like behind the story. How, and I'm just going to say allegedly, how with this build up of this turning point and the money and the power and more importantly, she alludes to the pressure that Charlie Kirk was experiencing recently. And I'm talking about outside pressure on him to maybe say things that he didn't line up with his values or religious values, I think it could be said. Yeah. A different perspective, she said he was beginning to see things a lot differently in so many ways. I think, well, it just would have been fascinating to hear more debate between him and others, because there were things that were lined up. But if you listen to her, do you know Candace in one less than, I don't know, few minutes, she had over 250,000 people listening to her? She got over 7 million views on that one video. Say what you want. There are some people who are looking at her and listening to her on both sides. And apparently she knew some things. I was surprised to hear her say the words, well, wow. Let me see if it just kind of blew me away. Let's see. Where did I put it? I know a lot of people are going to disagree. Do you know that many, many people are losing subscribers by the thousands just by speaking on this? If if they have been in support. Mhm. Do you know that there's already some signs of people acting in a not a peaceful way? How about if I put it just like that? Hang on, the clock is spinning. I can't even get back to you. Hold on. Let's see. Did I? Let me just read from something that she said. This is this part. Candace Owens said, quote, "If you think you are going to replace Charlie Kirk, let's see, you don't get to depose us. And we are going to follow this individual. I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA. You put a shell in Charlie Kirk's chair." I think that's what she said, shell. Because they're showing his empty chair, in his mic. "In Charlie Kirk's company. And you try to tell us to follow that individual?" She looked right in the camera. She said, "I will be an enemy of you. There will be nothing that can stop me." Her words, let me continue. This is all her words. "This is not a threat. This is a promise. There will be nothing that can stop me. I will release every single text message for those of you who are trying that. I am telling you to back off right now. Like right now. Don't do it. Don't you think about it. I know exactly who you are. I know exactly who was exerting pressure. Don't you pretend to be noble now. Say nice things about Charlie Kirk and think you're going to slide into his chair over my dead body, which I'm sure can be arranged." She looked straight in the camera, into the camera, and she never minced one word. The internet is going crazy. Over Candace now because she was a dear friend, and others. There was Tucker Carlson, and Candace is also a friend of his. And she has been outspoken in her position on Israel. She talked about how Charlie Kirk had thought about it and conversations they've had. And she seems to think that that there were conversations about pressure he was feeling, and that he was allegedly I'm going to say it just to make sure. Offered a lot of money. And she said a lot of money to support certain things. But he turned it down on his own principle. I don't think people know everything. He is going to be bigger. Not he is going to be. He is bigger already in his death than he was in life. Whether you agree with him or not, you only need to look at the masses of people around the globe. Some people that said they never heard of Charlie Kirk, never knew about Turning Point. This is getting ready to get very deep. Very deep. She even questioned, well, his roommate who gave the, messages and statement. He was let go so quickly. They didn't charge him, not yet. They didn't even hold him, not even for one day, while there. But yet, there was this back and forth between him and Tyler. There was a time lapse here. And she begins to lay it out and says that she's going to do her own investigation. And do you know? People are pouring money. She's getting contacts even from Tyler's boyfriend's family members have been in touch with her to say the way that, and again, all alleged, the way that they are, seemingly painting, like this roommate is quiet, and the family is coming back and saying no. Some of the family members already in touch with her. I'm telling you, it was almost like it sent chills when she said those things. A lot of people were saying, like, this is a situation, Candace, she's, just speaking out and saying these things. And, be careful. I think she knows. She knows, I think. What's at stake here? there's some powerful people in this world. But this, she said, this is bigger than red and blue. This is about good versus evil. And if you have that perspective for Christians or those who are looking through a different lens, then you might just have a glimpse at why some say the things that they do. I'm talking about in support of at least having a discussion, a debate, a dialogue with someone like a Charlie Kirk. Because if you understand that, again, from what I could, not just after his death, because I started watching, I told you some of his, I started watching Candace, more, and the interviews, and I remember his interview and others, debates. It was fascinating, really, to watch it, to listen. There was something greater getting ready to take place. The story that's going to be told, and what we just don't know what's going to come out. But she seems to think that there were more than just one person involved. She said she is going to investigate this. Now, because of that, people are going to be watching and waiting to hear what she has to say. Because, again, agree with her or not, she does have a following, and it's getting bigger. And yes, she better be careful. I see you making this, Viva says, this comment. And I just read from it. But if you listen to her and the passion in her voice, and of course, right now, she just lost a friend. She spent the last 2 years, really. She was on a mission and traveling with him too. A portion of the time. Yes. On those campuses. There's a lot we don't know, but a lot that's going to come out. And she is a fierce brave. Again, I'm just saying. I'm just looking at the reaction and the words. You know, words have meaning. I've said that before. And by her saying the things that she said, it has when she said, if this or that you're going to become my enemy, wow. Conversely, who is going to make her now their enemy? This is way above what I've even known. But it's intriguing. And the service hasn't even been held yet. Right? And of course, the conspirators, they're already, there's a lot out there. Just because someone talks about another person, like a Charlie Kirk, wants to listen to what he had to say, to listen, to see what was said, what is true, what are the facts, good or not, where he was at in his position. Yeah. I want to know now. I'm very curious. So, like me, others will be listening. So, once we can learn and I can say, no, let me step back. I don't agree with this or that. But if a person had a religious conviction, Christian based, and wanted peace and approach, didn't want violence, it's tempers are flaring. It has set a different course, and because of what happened, his death. Do you know there are some people, I'm telling you, that have said they haven't gone to church, they didn't even believe in God. And this is touching them in ways they've never thought. It's right now it appears there's a revival of sorts. Yeah. So again, it depends on how you look, what lens you're looking at through to what is going on. Your perspective, especially if you're coming from a Christian or that faith background, you are going to look at this quite differently. Yeah. So it depends on who you are, where you are, who, what, and all of that shapes your the way you think about things. Yes. He was big in for young people. He had the ears and the minds and the hearts of a lot of young people. He did. Wow. Impressive, if nothing else, impressive. How many people could say that? Who? Charlie Kirk, I was talking about. I was talking about Candace Owens and what she said in her last, her video on yesterday. It was passion like I've never seen or heard from her before. I was like, oh, it was chilling, like almost frightening. You know, like I felt, careful, like many people who were listening to her saying, pray for her, because yes, Cup says, I've been watching her. She is not playing at all. Let's see if I can just pull up. She's already gotten 2 million views on her video from 5 hours ago. Let's see. And it's not just the views, it's what she's talking about, what she's saying. This video that she's almost received now, more than 7.5 million views 2 days ago. It's titled, They Are Lying About Charlie Kirk. Candace episode 235. Let's see if I can get to the part. She's talking about this Bill Ackerman. Let's see. I'll just play a little bit of it. I don't know. Let's just hear some of it, what she had to say. This is Candace on They Are Lying About Charlie Kirk. Fair use commentary.
Ackman was very upset and threats were made. That is what I am told, and I will tell you that I am very happy for Bill Ackman to dispute this narrative. In fact, he was asked to dispute this narrative. Max Blumenthal went out to him today, and Bill Ackman came back and said, I have receipts I can show you, and he did not provide the receipts. This is not how it went down. I know it went down this way. I'm waiting for one of them to go on record and to say that it didn't go down this way. It was at this time that Bibi Netanyahu was called and Charlie was invited to Israel. This was an under duress situation, I would say, because I've been in these situations before. When I started asking very sensible questions about Israel, as someone who had dedicated her political life to supporting Israel, many times alongside Charlie Kirk, I was met with the very same pressure. And just like Charlie was being invited to Israel, I was invited somewhere else. And when this arrived to me, it felt like a threat. I got to tell you that. It felt like a threat, like not like, hey, come here and we can educate you because you're my friend. More like, this is your last chance. That's how it felt to me. I can't speak to how it felt to Charlie. And I know that Charlie was offered a ton of money in this moment. A ton of money. Maybe would fund it, spend tons of money. And Turning Point, I guess, if it needed to go to a higher level, would have gone to an even higher level than it already was at. And I know for a fact that Charlie denied that funding. That Charlie denied, and what Bibi didn't include there, he declined to go to Israel for, I would describe this as like, re-education camp. We've seen it. You made an uh-oh, but we can help you. We just need you to come out to Auschwitz and take a picture. Yeah. We just need you to come to the Holocaust Museum and take a photo. We just need you to go to Israel and we can make this better. Charlie said no to Bibi. Okay. Bill Ackman, if you would like to dispute that, I would love to hear what you say happened, because our sources and what we have, it's solid. Okay. There were conversations that took place, messages that were sent at that time, and they are solid. So I decided another person that was there, and I am not surprised this person was there. If you've been listening to my show, Seth Dillon, I was going to talk to Seth Dillon, and I decided to message him last night about this Hamptons meeting. And Seth Dillon, who is normally very quick with a response, has not yet been able to respond. I'll show you this text message chain. And I want to be clear, I am not someone who normally publicizes text messages. But my friend was shot in the neck. And I'm just not really in the state right now to be polite when it comes to the answers that I am demanding, okay? This is me out to Seth Dillon last night. I sent him Bill Ackman's tweet because, he tweeted, I feel incredibly privileged to have spent a day and shared a meal with Charlie Kirk this summer. He was a giant of a man. I said, any comment on this one, Seth? He didn't answer last night. This morning I said, need a comment ASAP, please. He didn't answer. Then I followed that up and I said, trying again here, you were present when Ackman lost his mind on Charlie and when Bibi invited him to Israel and Charlie refused. Text messages immediately following this meeting are circulating. I find Ackman's statement, as though the meeting was somehow cordial, to be incredibly disturbing. Are you at all disturbed by that tweet? Do you feel, as I do, that this tweet significantly betrays the defined purpose and mood of his, and I presume your, final meeting with Charlie Kirk? ? He was unable to speak to me, but he did place some frantic calls to Turning Point USA. Yeah. You see, I went out to Seth, but I also went out to two other people who were at this meeting, and nobody is willing to go on record. They're all messaging each other, trying to figure out a coordinated response to say that, no, this was all quite cordial, but no one wants to go on record and describe it as cordial because they know someone's leaking, because someone's got a guilty conscience about what happened at the Hamptons. So I will again put it out there, Seth, Bill Ackman, and to the other individuals who I have not yet named, but who are going to be named later this week, who were at the Hamptons when Charlie was put under pressure, when Bibi Netanyahu called him and invited him to Israel, again in a move that when it happened to me, and it wasn't Bibi Netanyahu, felt to me like a laced threat. I am inviting you guys, I will give you my platform, actually, to come clear matters up, to tell us what really happened, because, I think Charlie was definitely on the brink of changing some of his perspectives. And I can tell you factually, Charlie was praying the rosary. Charlie was going to mass. One of my last conversations with Charlie was me joking with him saying, just make the last step, okay? You are, I said specifically, you're too smart to be a Protestant. Just take the last step, Charlie. He says, ha ha. speaking about Mary. And typically, when those steps start taking place, you stop referring to yourself, as I did, as a Judeo-Christian.
He was in the midst of taking steps. You heard her say, threats, duress, money. How do you turn Bibi Netanyahu down? Prime Minister of Israel. Do you know she talked about today, even as passionate, cancel. You know, when you say no to certain things, if people don't agree with you, what do? Cancel you. Do things. Start taking away support, donations, huge sponsorships. Well, apparently, Charlie Kirk had been experiencing some of this recently. Tucker Carlson had talked about it. Money to think and speak and support a certain way. Charlie Kirk, if you listen to him, he had a certain belief and Christian belief or conviction underlying what he was saying. He turned down a lot of money here recently. It appears, just on what she's saying, and others who are starting to speak about it. Some powerful influence. They wanted Charlie to stand. Just take a picture. Just show. But was he getting away from that? Was he starting to turn in a different direction? Were there others that were, this was Charlie Kirk's. He started turning point. He did that. But then when things get so big, and the influence that he was not beginning, but he was having on so many young people, these chapters forming. Of course, I didn't know all of this. I was just beginning to learn about the impact and what was going on. Well, now we are going to learn. More and more is going to come out. And if you thought that Charlie Kirk didn't have a voice, he's going to get a huge voice, whether you like it or not, whether you want to listen or not. I'm listening to hear certain things. I'm looking for understanding. What's going on here? It's bigger. It's than we knew. It's bigger than what Charlie even knew what was going on and getting ready to take place. But he was, it appears, under some pressure. Yeah. Meetings are being called. Invites. What's going on here? It's deep. Well, I've been on for an hour 25. I said, what do you guys want to talk about? I had a little variety and ended up, I wanted to talk about that too. Yeah. I see a few more have come into the Bear Cave. Let me read a few of your comments and we will wrap this up. Yes, once more, fair use commentary for education, criticism, news reporting, and entertainment purposes only. Thank you to my moderators. BB better not be John Doe. That's all I know. She probably will change her tune soon. She all but vowed that she's not going to be persuaded to stop speaking out right now, and even more so. She says when she gets ready to stop, that's when she'll be stopped. And at the end of that, she said, over my, body. And I'm sure that can be arranged. Whoa. I think she has an idea what she is facing. Quite possibly. She said she's received threats. Yeah. It does. It goes deep. So I'm going to go back. Why do you think she's going to change her tune? Viva. Anyone? Do you think it's going to be because she'll have second thoughts, think for her family, perhaps? Put that above what her own personal fight. You see, it's about silencing a voice. You say yes, you agree to that. Okay. Thank you, chat, for your support. It's 11:46. You can email me at unwinewithteddy@gmail.com. And yes, I am going to be following this, and I am going to be listening to what she has to say next, because it's intriguing and I'm curious. People want to know. They want answers. And yeah, she plans to pursue them. And right now, she's getting a lot of support. All right. Biggest bear hugs go out to all the grizzlies and the honey bears. Please hit the like on your way out. Join me sometime tomorrow. I appreciate all of you who stayed with me. It's late. And now it's time to say goodbye. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. good night.